Ramadan. We uh we really had some excellent times here in Melbourne at iftar time, of course. The prophet said that the fasting person will have two joys in the evening when he breaks his fast, and in the Akhir when he meets his Lord. So, so with God's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer, we witness there is no deity worthy of worship except one creator who has created everything. And we witness that Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace and blessings be on the prophet, is Allah's messenger, last prophet to humanity. Khatama and Nabi in the prophets, in the prophethood. Our Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings, represents the final prophet. I know we hear a lot of people claiming to be prophets and this and that, but he also brought a scripture, the Holy Quran, a revealed book that has been maintained in original text for over 1,450 some odd years. So with that being said, welcome everyone to preparing to make it in the land of plenty. Eid Mubarak, a blessed Eid to you all. We celebrated Eid al-Fitr on Friday yesterday. I was understanding that the nationwide we celebrated Eid al-Fitr on the Friday. So we were unity. That was a lesson from all that the Eid day was recognized on this continent on Friday. We have a special program today for you. We're going to follow our format in terms of message of concern. We are dealing with messages, a message of concern. And that first message of concern was the Imam addressing the idea of a image of God as an image of man as the Son of God, the image of man as the Son of God. You know, we use the term, and the Professor Rabbanni, I got it from him. He probably got it from the Imam, I think.
Later
Invisible whitened images.
Listen to the rebroadcast of this.
Invisible whitened
Being
images
broadcasted now.
in a visible
Won't hear it now.
God.
Moving around.
Ma'am Kareem, I hear you. I'm just sure you muted. But invisible whitened images in a visible whitened God. So we were addressing that concern. We're going to do that a little bit this morning, and then we're going to go to our interview with Imam Nasif Majid out of Charlotte, North Carolina, state representative, Imam state representative, and also a very, very productive individual with great history as a military pilot. Military pilot, in my opinion, a hero. I think he flew some 180 some odd sorties in the military. So my opinion,
How do you feel this morning? Okay.
Imam, I'm still hearing you. Am I on? Am I being heard?
Yes, sir. Yes. Loud and clear.
Okay, good, because I'm hearing some background speaking there.
Someone's.
Yeah, so with that being said, we want to move on. Michael, can you do that message of concern? I want to figure out how to post it on the screen as well. I'm going to have to inquire our sister Manira to help with that. And we did get here in Florida, we did get permission from the Muslim Journal to use the latest edition of that particular message of concern. So we want to take advantage of that as much as possible. So Michael, go ahead with it if you could, please.
Okay. Yes, sir. Just one moment.
Okay, Professor Rabbanni, are you there?
He hasn't tuned in yet.
Okay.
I'm waiting on him to I'm gonna look and see. I gave him
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum
there he oh,
assalam.
he made it. Allahu Akbar.
Allahu
Yes.
Allahu
Akbar.
Akbar. Yeah,
Okay.
man.
Do
All
we
right,
have
he's
our
free
do
at
we have
last.
Imam Nasif, Professor?
Yeah, I sent him the link.
Okay, good, good.
If
From
he'll raise his
Alhamdulillah. So
if
so
yes,
he'll
well,
raise
welcome, Professor. We were just talking about the message of concern. Share some thoughts, if you will, while Michael get it on that.
I've got
It is posted on the screen.
Oh, it's
yes, it's
posted. Yeah, we
and
want our audience to be able to see it as well. So I wish we could each week have it posted for a period of time there, if possible. And is there a way for us to be able to do that, Sister Manira?
yeah. If
yeah,
you join it now.
you can increase the size by just putting your fingers and spreading them out. You can see
Make it
the
bigger?
print. Yeah,
Yeah.
the print.
So we would like our viewers to also be able to read it as you read it, Michael, please.
Okay. We'll begin with the message of concern. What would happen if people would sit in churches throughout the world for centuries with the image of an African American man as savior of the world before them? What would this do to the mind of the world's children? What would happen to the world's children put under a figure of a particular race, presented pitiable, and in pain, quote, the savior of all men? The Quran, Surah 3, chapter 3, verse 64. Bismillah. Say, O people of the book, come to common terms as between us and you, that we worship none but God, that we associate no partner with him, that we erect not from among ourselves lords and patrons other than God. If then they turn back, say you, bear witness that we, at least, are Muslims, bowing to God's will. Civilized nations should want their religions be also civilized. False worship is the worst form of oppression. We are no gods, we are only men, quote, mortals from the mortals, He Allah created.
Yes.
Praise be to Allah.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you. And Professor, share brief comments, if you would, on the harmful effect of of this image as it's been embedded in the homes and minds of the people over generations. Share some thoughts, if you would, on that.
Yes. Now the Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. With God's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer, we witness that there's no God worthy of worship other than the one God, whom the Muslims refer to, the people of Arabic speaking, as Allah. And for the Christians, they say God. Okay? One God. Okay? And we witness that Muhammad, to whom the Quran was revealed some 1450 years ago, is his messenger and the final seal of the prophets for mankind. So this is very serious. Now, what happened in the halls of different religious organizations, I don't know who's in the Vatican, but I think it might have been Pope Basil at one time. How do we control and how do we keep two things occurring? The people depending on us to seek their salvation, and the business people who would like to continue to control the wealth that the world has uh, in the bowels of the earth to control that wealth. Now, here's a group of people from Europe who decide this is the Dutch the Spanish and the English and the Portuguese that saw an opportunity to how do we harvest this wealth and establish a long tradition of control over these areas. So they came up with an idea of fabricating an image of God and promoting that image in the minds of people of who are not European. Those are the people that they took from West Africa and other places, South Africa and East Africa, and brought them to the West, dropping them off in Brazil and the islands and the United States of America. They used this image to, and of course, the first thing they did was they broke up the family life. You took the father and had him sold some in a far area, might not even made it to the North American continent, but he was sold away and the children had no guidance. Now, can you imagine having no one giving you guidance on life and as you come into an environment of enslavement when you have one person who tells you what to do every minute of the day, and then gives you on one day the opportunity to go and to worship God, which you already are natural fitra. Your natural fitra already is urging you that there's no God but one God, and that's all we have to advance. So they gave you an image, a picture. And that picture was the same image of the person who was enslaving you. And everywhere you go, you see these images of the divine. You didn't know how to read or write. They forbid that. So what do you have to go on but an image of the same image of a person who brutalizes you throughout the week and then tells you to worship that person, the same image that will save you. So that has a psychological compounding effect on how you behave and how you reflect. So that message of concern is dealing with that.
Yeah.
It's dealing with it in a way that will will show you that no, the 10 Commandments said, "Thou shalt not have any other gods before me."
Mhm.
And now you see the effects because now people are using that and developing their wealth and preventing you from advancing as a human being.
Yes. So let's have Michael share some thoughts if he will. Did Imam Nasif join us yet?
If he'll raise his hand, star 9 if he's on the phone, uh, then I'll be able to recognize that he's with us. Star 9 if you're on the phone, or just use the uh,
He'll be
reaction
on soon. Yeah.
prompt. Yeah.
All right, Michael, please share some thoughts if you would, please.
Uh, I just want to say the followers of Imam Wasim Muhammad have been introduced to the Quran and the life of Prophet Muhammad, prayers and peace be upon him, in such a way that has improved our thinking ability because of the logical, uh, less, or I should say, without emotion, analyzing the social dynamics that we're in presently, as well as the social dynamics uh, that produced America. You know, and the story of chattel slavery is one that is it it produces a shame effect because well, all people have experienced slavery, blah blah blah. Why go back into the past, blah blah blah. But the issue is that you've taken a group of people and you've established conditions to make them dysfunctional as human beings.
Mm.
You sep look, today we have all kinds of psychological presentations. We know about Dr. Phil and others. You can go online and pull up Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, because I consider him somewhat of a natural based clinician, because he deals with the effects on the body in terms of trauma. He
Yes.
has a book. He has a book entitled "The Body Keeps Score," and
Mm.
you can YouTube many of his lectures where he breaks down how it's not just a mind problem that you can help people talk their way out of. Trauma goes deeper than the mind. It even affects the body, and he talks about how the trauma effects of the body produces what you call a trauma responses, and people's view of themselves and the world is dramatically changed because of trauma. And he describes that a large part of America's issues today are the problems of trauma responses, how people deal with trauma. And I'll stop with that. Imam Delacie. Imam Delacie. He
Yeah.
may have
Did
had.
he?
I'm sorry. I apologize. Like, yeah, I was waiting for you to finish and kind of had a break there. Is Imam not yet?
Yeah,
Uh,
I gave him the passcode.
Yeah,
if he'll open up his mic and let us know that he's there. If he's on the phone, he can *6 to open up the mic.
yeah.
Star
So
six will open up your mic.
let me we invited Asif to be with us today. He's Imam, uh, a state representative, North Carolina for a number of years. Had a recent setback in an election, but in a stand, a moral stand, and we want to maybe have a conversation with him. He's also served in Vietnam in the military. He's a pilot, uh, a commercial pilot as well as a pilot in the military. So we wanted to have him on today to share some thoughts with us. I consider him an American hero myself, and I don't, they not want me to use that kind of language, but I can that type of service for years, serving the community, then serving militarily and serving responsibly in the state house of honor. I think is a very worthy and a demonstration of devotion to community service, to serving this country. So we appreciate that very much. We're going to have him on. So, Professor, share some thoughts, if you would, about. Yeah, I know you have a personal relationship with him as well. Professor, are you with us, or you stepped away from him?
Please unmute your phone, remember body.
Yes, so
Your phone is muted.
To an automated voice messaging system.
so go ahead and share some thoughts if you would. Well, we are still on this type of title of message of concern, because last week we were addressing leadership and how the leadership needs to be reformed for leadership, et cetera, et cetera. And it's around the world. It's not just America. The leadership, as we look at it around the world, needs to be, a lot of reform needs to take place. So, Michael, share some thoughts, if you will, while we're waiting on Imam Nassif and Rabbanni to get us back connected.
Yes, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The previous program, commentary from the Quran of Imam Muhammad, we're dealing with the issue of justice in the passages that were being dealt with this morning. And this idea of justice and the lack of it, the refusal to accept, it is fair. It is not unreasonable to see that regardless of the color, the hue, the physical features, you know, the size or shape of the lips and the nose, regardless of those issues, we have a common humanity. A man, a scientist, a doctor who produced blood plasma, which has helped save millions of lives, had a car accident and was unable to be treated in a hospital because, and he wasn't a dark, he wasn't a black man. His features were fairer, more fair than the features of many what they call rednecks, you know, those that work in the sun who are of European descent. And they don't have to be of European descent. You know, we have African Americans. I was going to mention Dr. Just that quick. I lost his name. Dr. Drew. Dr.
Yes.
Drew, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, he died because he would not be served as a patient in a Caucasian hospital. And he produced the blood plasma that has saved millions of lives. That's the kind of injustice that this idea of color consciousness or color superiority, which you do not find any support for in nature itself. I like to use the fruit banana because of the extreme, you know, the banana is yellow when it's ripe. You know, you have a nice yellow color. But when it starts to deteriorate, excuse me, I've got a little speech impediment. Yeah, so starts turning black and mushy, you know? And so you don't see any superiority in a black banana or a black fly or a white maggot. So nature refuses to accept this idea, this social construct of
Yeah,
color superiority. And I'll
yeah.
stop with that. And we've got Imam Nasif Majid. He's also an imam. He wears a lot. He's wearing a lot of hats.
Yeah, so
Well,
thank you, ma'am Nasif. Welcome to Preparing to Make It in the Land of Plenty. We always honored to have you on
you're on
the
mute.
program. And I did a brief introduction to the audience about you, the little information, just a little information, shared a little information about you. But please share some information about yourself and your position as formerly state representative and something about the election. And I was really impressed with the stand you that may not been popular. So please share some thoughts with us about your history and get us familiar with you as a person, individual. Anything you'd like to share, we appreciate it.
Unmute yourself, Nasif. Imam, you have to unmute yourself.
Let's see. My bad. My bad.
There you Yes, sir.
I'm sitting here. You know, look, you say I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. Okay. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Alaikum
I'm-
assalam. Eid Mubarak to you.
Eid Mubarak, yes.
Eid Mubarak.
Wonderful day. Yesterday was Jumu'ah Mubarak, and we had Eid Mubarak on the same day.
Yeah, we had a wonderful day. Wonderful day.
Yeah, wonderful day. Alhamdulillah. I'm. You said, even though I began prefaces, I lost the election, but I'm still in office. I'm in office till December 31st. So we're still working on committees. I was in Raleigh yesterday, day before yesterday, Wednesday and Thursday, working on the tax reduction committee, select committee, and also transportation committee. I had that Thursday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
So that
So
was the
I'm still in
primary.
there.
That was
That
the
was a primary.
primary.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. That was a primary.
Thank you.
Again, I'm Delacie Majid, and thank you for having me on land of plenty. So we are living in the land of plenty. You know,
Yes.
so many opportunities. And which of the favors of the Lord you did not. So thankful for that. Thankful for good health. Thankful for good mind. Thankful for being a Muslim. You know, that's
Yes,
that's very thankful for that. I been in Charlotte since 1981. I was the first in 91. I was the first Muslim elected to office in the state of North Carolina, and that was the Charlotte City Council. I served there for 8 years. You know, I joke with Rabbanni. He down there. He was down there in Florida. Now he's in South Kakalaki. Down there at FAMU. See, I'm an Aggie. I went to A&T. I'm an Aggie.
Oh,
Aggie. we diametrically opposed, but we are brothers in HBCU. Okay.
no.
but I graduated from there. I was in ROTC there, and we were talking about around the earlier. We were talking about discipline. You know, at that time at A&T. No, so when I was a freshman at A&T, Jesse Jackson was a junior. When I was a sophomore, he was a senior. So I knew him very well. But we talked about at A&T, ROTC, we had Air Force ROTC and we had Army ROTC. They were mandatory. Mandatory for men, for young men. It was, it gave, I think it gave a sense of, we call it a leadership laboratory. And your sophomore and freshman year, you had to take it. If you junior, senior year, you in advanced ROTC leading to a commission upon graduation. But it's something about military and the discipline, order, uniformity that should be a part of our lives in a way, one way or the other. And sometimes people don't get it. Sometimes people do get it. We got, people got it in the Nation of Islam.
Yes.
Through the military structure there, FOI. Yes. But somehow in your life you need structure, where it's a part of you can develop that structure in your life, and I guess it started for me at A&T, and I graduated from there and I went to college training. I passed that test and I went to college training in Randolph Air Force Base, San Antonio, Texas. And I flew there. That's where I got my wings, my Air Force pilot's wings. And I also, I'm a decorated Air Force combat pilot. I flew over 120 combat missions as a B-52 aircraft commanding captain. And when I got out of there, I flew the airlines. I was the second African American on with Piedmont Airlines at the time. Now it's called American Airlines. It's involved, USAir, American Airlines. And then I left there because I wanted to do something for myself. That was a great call, right? Do something for yourself. So the Ambulance Muhammad said, look, we got a plane up, we got an airport, we got planes, we got a fixed base operation. Come up here and run our airports. So I left the airline. I said, look, I'm not going to miss this opportunity. I'm going to do something for myself. I'm going to do something for ourselves. I'm going to work. And that's how I got to Chicago in 1970, latter 75, after I'm not going to pass. And that's where I met Mr. Rabbanni Muhammad. I got pictures of him at the airport with some planes out there at the airport. He was at that time. I knew Rabbanni. That's why I first met Rabbanni. And you know what? Mr. Rabbanni Muhammad, he hadn't changed a bit. His engine is running strong. You know what I'm saying? Again, he got a strong engine. I've seen no deterioration in his mechanism, his human mechanism, and his spiritual mechanism, and his energy. He had the same kind of energy then that he has now. It's very amazing, very unique. Yeah. And so we share some memories there. And when I left there, I left the Nation of Islam after we.
So tell us what you did as a pilot in the Nation of Islam, Imam. What did you do?
Well, I did not fly the airplane. I'll be sure. I did not fly the airplane. I'll give you a little. I'm not gonna go into detail.
Yeah, just a little bit.
But I'll just give you this a short scenario. That airplane was rigged to kill the Imam W.
What?
Yes.
Yes, it was. If I'd have got, see, I think a lot, because that's what I'm better for, not only fly the airplane, but to organize all the aviation operations.
Yeah.
Okay. And that plane was, because you remember now when the plane, I'm keeping it simple. They left the hangar that day, our hangar that day. Somebody sold the airplane. They weren't supposed to sell the airplane. I was supposed to sell the airplane. But anyway, they sold the airplane but at a discount. And the guys got on that airplane. And when they took off at midway, they rotated, and that airplane ran right into the barrier. At the end of the runway, it did not rotate. And on Cicero Avenue, in the Cicero Avenue, it crashed.
Wow.
Yes. So it was really rigged to kill the Imam. And by the grace of Allah, I did not get on that airplane. Good God Almighty. Because I flew some other airplanes that we had, but not that one. Because
Yes,
I think that's the plan. That was a loss protection.
yes, sir.
I think that was a loss protection. Okay. So then, I left there after there and got my master's in agriculture education at A&T, and then left there to have a Burger King franchise here in Charlotte. That's why for 11 years I operated a Burger King franchise operation here in Charlotte. Charlotte as an owner operator. And I got into politics subsequently, serving 8 years on city council. Then I had a little waylay for about 6 to 8 years. And then this is my 8th year in the House of Representatives, North Carolina House of Representatives. And so that's it's simple, short. That's how I got it.
Thank you for sharing that brief story. I wanna give Micheal and Professor Rabbanni a chance to engage and ask you some questions. We want to get a little more information and have you also maybe give us some recommendations on how we should be viewing politics in these turbulent times we are having. But Professor, go ahead and if you would, and then Micheal, you can follow up after Professor finish, after he addressed the issue that Professor Rabbanni has.
Yes, Captain Nassif.
It's an inquiry. Is this an inquiry?
I'm on the Senate committee.
Everybody laughing. Look, let me say this, Rabbanni, before you say that. I had an opportunity to be on the phone with both of these guys talking, right? And now I'm laughing right now. So go ahead, Professor.
I just wanted to congratulate you on your defeat in the primary.
Yes,
now, that sounds kind of strange, but let's look at what the issue was of your defeat. You had taken a stand on children having some medical procedures on them to change their sexual orientation. And they had a bill that supported that you voted against. Okay? And that bill...
The bill came from Republicans. The bill came from Republicans. Yeah, I had no conversation with Republicans about the bill, period. Okay, but as the bill came, the bill had in it that here's the question. Would you allow this is a question, and I comment on the bill. But I asked you the question, would you allow your minor child under your house of supervision as a parent to have medical attention without your consent as a parent? They codified that. Now, and they came and I said, I can support that. If Satan had brought that bill, and also it had in there, no sex changes while you're in prison. You could not, some states, you can have sex change while you're in prison, right? And the state got to pay for it. Your tax dollars got to pay for it. Well, they said, no, that's not going to be allowed in North Carolina. I said, I agree with that. Here's another thing that was in that bill. It said, if you male, you got male anatomy, you got female anatomy. When you're born, you male, you female. Well, people didn't like that was in that. I had to say yes to that. And what I supported, I was the only Democrat who codified that. I was the only, that's what took it over. So here's the situation. It's about parents' rights. In the macrocosm, parents have those rights, I would say. And they brought that bill. I said, yes, I voted for it. The governor, they want me to vote what? Against it, to override it, to override its veto. But if State thought I'd brought that bill, I would have had to vote for it because it's right. I mean, I think they're parents' right. In the microcosm, you got a few people who may be young people, minors, as they say, and minors. That's a few. Now, who may say, well, I want a sex change or I want to take hormones. And their parents said, no, you're not going to take hormones. I think parents have the right, especially a minor, because a minor child's brain didn't develop at a young age. Yeah. So I had to look at that and look at it. I can't throw out all the parents' rights just because a few minority of a person who, I think the parents have the rights over that. And so that's the route I took. Now, and I know I took the route right route because I slept good on my pillow. Now I could have gone on with it. And you would have never known, but there are certain criteria we have, okay? I think parents' right, that's a divine order. Parents raise the children, right?
Yes.
They don't have proper brain development. They groom them once they're 18, based on the law, they can make decisions, but up to that time, it gives, the children under care of their parents. I know we got an upside down world right here today, but we can't throw the baby out with the washboard, and I can't throw parents' rights out for a few, a limited few, based on the numerous aspects of the total population.
Yes, sir.
Now, I know if I had to think about that situation, because I wanted to be right with Allah. Now, somebody said I took my personal mores, I took my personal values and applied it over the people in my district. But everybody I talked to in my district, they said, oh, that's what that's about. I'd have done the same thing. No, you're not going to do that. But I voted for, I codified it. And some people were very discontent. They were very upset about that. Matter of fact is, I heard this earlier this summer, they had $500,000 on my head as far as getting me out of office. And it was a concentrated effort. Oh my gosh, I've never seen anything like this. They got into my base. We got a lot to talk about. I'm gonna kind of set the stage.
All right.
Because we get into marketing, and it's much more sophisticated today. Marketing is heavily laced with sociological / psychological input.
Yes.
And so what they did was they used that money and they played on the sensitivities of the African American people in my community, saying he voted with Trump Republicans.
Yeah.
He voted with Trump. Now you're getting into pushing people's sensitivities. When you say Trump and African American, it's like it sets off something that's gets out of proportion.
Yeah.
Now they use these words and play on sensitivities of African American. They say he voted with Trump Republicans 70% of the time. But look at this. Now this is where smoke and mirrors come in.
Yes. So yes.
I voted 70% of the time with the majority, not 7% of the time with Republicans, because the leader in the House, the Democratic leader, he voted 7% with the majority. My delegation voted 7% majority. But see how they play with words and they play on people's sensitivity? Trump Republican. He voted 7% with Trump Republican. That ain't all true, you know what I'm saying? But they put all that money and they bombarded. They had TV. They had TV ads. They had 16 mailers. $60,000 in mailers, man. One day I went to my mailbox. I had 3 mailers in my mailbox in one day. All this happened doing that, and then they got people walking neighborhoods. They got people paying $45 out of state, out of town, coming in. So they want. Here's the point they want to prove. Here's the point they want to prove. The point they want to remember when Denmark Vesey in South Carolina. You ever heard a guy named Denmark Vesey? They had a revolution, and they cut the revolution.
That's right.
They cut him off because somebody told that he would come in and they were going to do that. Well, what they did was, and it's the same thing today. That's a different scenario. What they did was they parted their bodies. You don't know where they're bodies, north, south, east, west. They took their heads and put them on the stake. This is in Charleston, South Carolina, doing slavery. And they put their heads on the stake. And they took all the slave bodies and said, look, this is what's going to happen to you if you do this. Just like they didn't beat the slave in private. They brought all the slaves in there. This is what's going to happen to you when you do that. So this is what they say. If you get out of and you vote against the governor, this is what's going to happen to you. So the money wasn't the problem. They could put twice as much money, whatever the money was, to drive that point home. And they mesmerized and the people, but they even got in my base. And matter of fact, they censored me from the Democratic Party in the state of North Carolina. And so this was a very concentrated effort because they want to keep plantation mentality in order. But I'm free. I'm free. In the land of plenty, I'm free. So like I said again, is I dance to my own music by the grace of Allah. I got my own band. I don't need nobody else's band. Yes, and I'm a free man in society. I'm a free man in the city. And yes, so, that's why I'm at peace, and that's why I sleep well, because I know I made the right decision in the eyes of Allah, and that's our criteria. Yes, sir.
Let me ask you a question, and then I want Michael to also have a chance to engage you. How is I would say the proportions, Democrat, Republican, Independents in the North Carolina House? How does that?
Well, they are no independents, but majority, the House, the majority of the House is Southern. And if anything, you'll get in the bill pass. You're gonna have to incorporate Republicans on bills if you get anything, because they will put a Democrats bill. I don't care what in 513. You got to have a Republican on your bill. See, that's another aspect to understand. So people don't understand.
Again, what's the percent? I'm sorry, I missed it.
61 to 49.
Republican, Democrat.
Up total 120.
Yeah. Okay, Michael, please engage our guest and ask questions if you would, or make comments. Up to you.
Well, thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Majid. I applaud, and I say God is greater, bigger, more important to your stance. But I appreciate you sharing the strategies and the psychological approaches that are used in politics. You mentioned marketing, and it's you said that they got to your base. So it's very interesting in terms of the political reality, how big money interests, using what you said in terms of strategies, have a large effect in terms of their influence over the political structure. So my question to you, I wanted to ask you, well, do you think you would run as an independent? But that's not. I don't think that's practical. But you're sharing with us the dynamics of your primary race. I think is very significant, and I just like to know, you've worn so many hats. How will you proceed after your term of office is over?
Well, I'm gonna ask that question. I'm gonna add something onto that. Where will I go from here? I don't know. I have to follow a natural order. You see, I did the right thing. You know, I know I did the right thing. See, because all of the hormones, these dopamines in my body, that rewarded me. That's the peak. That's my Muslim body. Tell me I did right. I sleep well on my pillow at night. I feel good. You see, these are the intrinsic things that I know as my time and practice Islam tells me.
That's the fortitude.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Yes, sir. I'm good.
That's the
So,
fortitude.
and now where I go from here, I don't know. You know, I don't think I'm gonna be in. I don't. Now I'm saying from my position, I don't think I'm gonna be in politics because I had planned on running. This is my last time running anyway. This is my last time running anyway. It's just
All
so
right.
happened that this came up. So, you know, this was my test. Now, I see it like that. This was a law testing me. You see, I could say, oh, okay, we let that pass. You wouldn't have known. No, Rabbanni wouldn't have known. But Allah knows. It was a test for me. What am I going to do? If I'm going to stand up for, I used to see some bills in other states and stuff. I said, who in the world signed off on this? Who signed off on this? Well, that was kind of, if I'd have voted, I wanted to codify something like that. I wanted to make it law, okay? Because I know it was good. I don't being brought by Republicans, like I said, I didn't even confer with no Republicans. I didn't talk to the Republicans about this, period. It came up and I had to meet my test. So for me, I passed my test. But the thing about it is, so where do I go from it? I don't know. Some people say, well, it's something better for you down the line. I don't know what that is, but whatever it is, I'm approaching it as a Muslim.
Yes.
Okay, so again, yeah, you know you can always have tests, right? There's some minor
Yeah.
tests, some major tests, but that was a big test for me, okay? And I passed my test. So, but whatever, I'm gonna pass my test as a Muslim and live my life to fulfillment and do things and be active and helping people. That's my nature. That's why I like, you know why I like politics? Because I can help people. I help a whole lot of people, man. I've helped a whole lot of people in my political career, put it that way. That's one aspect. I've helped a whole lot of people. So it fits my nature as a Muslim. One of the sayings that he who's best in humanity, but best to humanity.
That's right.
That's one of the sayings. That's one of the sayings. There's a lot of other ones, but that's one of them. And so it fits my spirit good. It fits my spirit. Now the intrinsic value to that is not that's an intrinsic thing that makes my soul feel good. That's what keeps that peace going.
My final comment is the associates of Imam Muhammad. We were told that leadership is within the resourceful people. Mm-hmm. Certainly, you represent that in your resourcefulness. But there is a big challenge among the associates in terms of organizing ourselves for better results. You know, we have so many resourceful people, men and women, invested into the political process or you know, their civic responsibility, but not enough energy, in my opinion, being given to our better forming a social architecture among the Muslim associates of Imam Muhammad to help people. Mm-hmm. The more organized we are because of our sensitivities and sensibilities developed by the Quran, we're in a better position to help make America, you know, and help prepare for the land of plenty product. So we really need help in that area. And, you know, even though we're Muslims, we're still affected by, you know, my friend Kareem Hameen would say sometimes, Brother Michael, I would say the same thing that Fahim Shuaib said, but they didn't hear me.
Well, you know, it's interesting. You see, you talk about government is one of the four birds that the Imam talked about.
Yes.
Politics. Our whole life is politics. It's politics it's politics in the family. the exec is the father. and the support system that exec is the mother and the father. There's a system. That's government, the order in the household. That's the one thing about family as we develop family. That's very important to have a good community, got to be a family. Of course, the individual's got to be good. So, but there, we have to. You can't hit a home. See, this is one thing. Politics. Well, I come from a long line of politics. To people, community people. I come from a long history. Okay, but the thing about it is in my DNA, and I wasn't particularly looking for politics when I came to Charlotte. I came to Charlotte for business. But unfortunately, I got into politics. It's not by my design, but by circumstance. But you can't hit a home run sitting in the grandstand. Okay? No, you cannot. You can't hit a home run sitting in the grandstand. You got to get in the ball game. And that's what, I mean, email was telling, we got to get in the ball. The ideas you have need to be in the public commentary. We got people with great knowledge, but if you don't get that knowledge into the discourse or the ideas, then you just sit in the grandstand. You got to get in the ball game. When I first got into politics, Muslim told me it's haram to be. They say it's haram. Oh man, that's haram. You in politics, it's haram. Later on, they came to apologize. Later on, and some of them who says haram, they were taxi cab drivers. Okay. And then they had a situation where they were put them out of business. They had to call me to keep their tax cap license and keep them in business. I said, "Hey, brother, didn't you tell me that was haram?" But I went on to help them anyway, So, yeah. So their livelihood was politics. The water we drink is politics. What are we gonna get good water or poor water, like they did in Michigan? The air we breathe. It's politics. Whether you're gonna have an interstate going through your neighborhood, but you don't have nobody sitting on the board. And the interstate goes through your neighborhood with pollutants, and you got cancer, you got people dying earlier than the other people who don't have the interstate going through their neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's politics. Well, you're gonna have the industry around your area and getting all those pollutants in your neighborhood when you didn't have anybody sitting on the board. Other people, they don't. So say health is politics. The whole concept in life is politics, and if you're not in that, if you don't have no presence at the table, what they say, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu.
Yes.
But we were kind of transitioning. We can go back in our time, 50 years, 60 years ago, we didn't have a whole lot of politicians in the situation. Now we got more politicians, and life has changed for us through the political process. It's gotten better, even in some ways it's gotten better, but we still got to fight to hold on to that. But the thing about it is, if you don't have nobody there, you up the creek. You up the creek. And we've been up the creek for so long and still trying to get out.
Yeah.
But that's in being politically active, getting involved, and making the difference and putting your hand on the wheel.
So, Imam, let me ask you a specific question here, because I heard two things that you mentioned that would be of concern. You mentioned that they got to your base, and I know we having the midterms coming up where they are talking about the importance of these midterms, and what information can you share with us? First, some information concerning how they got to your base.
Yes.
And do you think that was a lack of education on the part of the base? How can you recommend, what would you recommend for the general listener in terms of the political urgency? I would think would be a way to look at it with all of the things going on, war and this and that. Please share some thoughts with it, if you would.
Well, in that whole aspect of getting to my base, first of all, you couldn't have told me that they could have done that. Okay, you couldn't have told me they could have done that, because I have proven accomplishments. I have proven competence. I mean tangible competence in this for the years I've been in office, even recently. The people, this kind of peculiar marketing they do now is very powerful. And they could hone in on the sensitivities on your weakness as a African American or whatever. I say this now, which I didn't believe they could. They could took a two-headed blue frog and that, with this kind of money they put behind this, and They can send so many information to get to you daily on a daily basis, 24 hours, 7 on a daily basis. And you're an elephant. And you stay in the elephant neighborhood. And they keep saying, you're a tiger. You ain't no elephant. You're a tiger. They keep saying this. You're a tiger. You're a tiger. You know elephant. You're a tiger. That's why you said, you know what? I think I am a tiger. I think I am a tiger. Because they're bombarding you with it. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, they're bombarding you. They hone in on your sensitivity. I had a guy came over here and said, well, gee, I've been voting you for years. I'm not going to vote you because you voted with Trump, Republicans.
Yeah.
But that's what they told them. They kept telling them that. But gee, vote with Trump, Republicans. They said, you know, they can make a lot of truth if they tell it enough.
Yeah.
You know, they do that. The orange man does that, doesn't
he? Yeah.
Yes.
The orange man does that. But so they bombarded them. They bombarded them. And even it was concerted effort because it was two others also who they brought in people who had no track record in the neighborhoods, had done nothing. They're not even from the people don't even know them. The people didn't even know them. That's what they say. I'm not doing somebody I don't know, but they got to a certain portion of my base that they changed those people's mind and they even know what I did. They know what I've done for the years. They know my record. They had jobs at institutions I established in the community. And they said, I can't vote for you this time because you voted with Trump. So they sold with money. They sold an idea and it stuck enough to wipe me out. Like I said again, you know.
Yeah, so
I'm getting into the intricate aspects of the situation. They say, well, that's how they got my base. They had the money, and money wasn't the issue. They would put more money in it, whatever they had to do to get that point over to change those people's minds.
Yeah. So we are very vulnerable in terms of political savvy and not have economic support to come those type of things, which we probably would never be able to match their money that way. But what would you recommend for us as I would say persons concerned about our community being conscious enough to ward off some of these attacks?
Okay, so there are two communities for us. There's a Muslim community and there's a broader community. I don't think Muslims are affected. Those who are politically aware, politically astute, you can't get them. You're not gonna get them. But it's the other people who think they know what condition their condition is in. Remember that song? What condition is my condition in?
Yes.
You think you know, but you really don't know. You think you're all right, but you ain't all right. You think you thinking for yourself, but they thinking for you. They tell you what to wear. They tell you what to dress. They tell you this is style. They tell you this. You got to have this. He said that kind of mentality is going on, and it affects all people, regardless of race, religion, ethnicity, nationality. You have to be alive. You have to be alive, or you're dead. And maybe somebody be in between that, coming to life or going back and going into death. But still, the Muslim is awoke. The Muslim was awake, live. You see, you can't pull that. Not these days. Not these days. Not these days. Not these days. You can't pull that or can't pull the Muslim. Not these days. But it's the broader people who they think they're in a situation, but they're in an environment that's created and made to keep them in that environment. They think there's but you got to be away. You can't think away. I mean, you can think away, but you got to be the way you think based on a sound principles.
What can we do, Imam, to in terms of our daily activities and engaging our neighbors, et cetera, et cetera? How do you? What do you mean if it takes something we discussing?
Well, the prophet say you don't know a person unless you work with a person. You don't know the person unless you work with a person. So, the greatest the greatest thing one thing I can say is leadership is by example. You got to set a good example. Your example says more to you than your talking. I take, for instance, I changed the flavor in the whole legislature because before then they were talking about Muslims bad. They were talking about Muslims saying all crazy things. But you know what? Once I got there, and once people got to know me, I have not said one negative word about Muslims since I've been there in 8 years. Not one negative word. Because they know me, and that's the criteria. So they control those comments and those outbursts based on what? Working with me. So what we can do, just live our life. You'll let your little light. Listen, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. It'll shine. Don't you
Yes.
think people will notice everything? They notice things. They know things. They know what's. And then that's the criteria. That becomes the criteria. No, that ain't Muslim. This is Muslim. You see, so your example would do the teaching. Your example will communicate the ideas. As you work with people.
Yes. Yes. So, Professor, share some thoughts, if you will, if you'd like to add our Imam and
Yeah.
representative.
Well, the key is living the life that you proclaim to live. If you under the Jewish persuasion live the life that Musa brought with the Torah, live that life. If you're Muslim, live the life following the footsteps of Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him. And if you are Christian, live the life that Jesus Christ, peace and blessings be upon him, lived. That's all. You don't have to tell me who you are. You show me who you are. And if you running around, you got crosses hanging around your neck or stars of David, okay, that's good. That's for you. But live the life that you proclaim, that you say is the best for this particular neighborhood or city or nation. Live that life, following the best examples of that life. And this is the example that Imam Nassif has illustrated. And he has a history in North Carolina. His family uh, was a family that demonstrated those things and got the respect of people who might have hated them. And I know the same thing here in South Carolina. My people, they were feeding the Caucasian people who during the Depression, the Great Depression, and because we had land and we still have land. So
Yes.
that's the call for uh, people who are in any aspects of life, the forebears, the government, education, okay, culture, and business.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes. So let's ask our audience, do they want to engage our representative and have any questions or comments? And Michael, please share some thoughts, if you would, while we engage our audience.
Yes, we ask the audience to please, the participants to please chime in and make a comment or question. Yes, this idea that I can show you better than I can tell you. This is just common folk talk. We're familiar with it. I'd rather see a sermon than to hear one. You know, that's how we think. Common sense. But with enough money and resources, you can wipe common sense out.
Evidently, that was proven in this particular instance. Yeah, that was amazing.
except, except for a favored few. And I just want to say that, and Representative Senator Nassif is aware, you get the kind of government that you deserve. We we earned this political climate that we're in now. We earned this. Every last citizen, and my dear friend Roy Wood's father, Roy Wood Sr., I asked him about, because I saw this stuff coming down the road when I lived in Birmingham. And he said his response was, sometimes the good just have to suffer right along with the bad. And we're familiar with that kind of. But
Oh yeah.
look, the righteous servants of God, I'm going to use that language. And I didn't say Muslim, I said the righteous servants of God. They're protected, you know, during times of noise and clamor and disruption, even natural disruption. If you're a righteous servant, you know that there's a life after this life, so if you die, you're going to transcend to another life. That's the believer. And I didn't say Muslim. The believer believes that you're going to transition. So we're dealing with these issues to actually prompt us. We have seen the sissification of manhood. We're looking at it right now. The sissification. I don't know if that's what but you know how black folks do. The sissification of manhood is in effect right now.
You're right.
And I've been looking at it for over 10, 20 years. The changing of the way the attire that men wear, the bringing it into the public of these relationships that are not natural. Look, I've got homosexuality in my immediate family, okay? So I love my daughter, but here's the deal. I respect her as a human being, but I don't respect that behavior. Because God told me not to respect it. And she understands that. But I don't want to be long-winded because, a lot of times when you speak long, state representative, you speak long,
Speak wrong.
the message gets lost, speak strong and not long. Praise be to God. So I'm going to stop there. We are winners. The Bible shows us Gideon and how God chose to minimize his forces because the scripture says that if God allowed the large number to go forward to the victory, the people would think, the soldiers would think that they had something to do with that. But when you got a small group with a superior strategy, God had to be in it because you didn't have the numbers. You didn't have the numbers. And we got the same picture in the Quran. Talut, taking a small group with a superior strategy is going to always win when you're standing on God's truth. Thank you.
I'd like to add something to what you said, and in the context of this whole situation, all the noise and the clamor that's going on. But we got it. Allah tells us in the Quran. He said when Abraham was in the fire, Allah says, "Fire, be cool, don't burn Abraham." You see, that's a servant. That's a believer. All this clamor is going on. We're not confused. We know which way is up. We just want our brothers and sisters, humanity, to wake up and help them so they can be protected by Allah's mercy.
Yes.
And so this is that's a clear example of how we should be acting. And we are in heaven with all this hell going on around here. We in heaven, but we don't want our brothers and sisters to be in heaven. But it's some things you got to do for yourself. Ain't nobody change you but you. Okay, but we got the message that we serve to God. You say, okay, you can tell them, but you can't make them come to anything. You can't make them come to anything. But we got to. We talk about the message that's a savior for whole humanity from God. The word that we have embraced and the word that we share. But like I said, everybody have the test. You can't take nobody else's test. They can't take your test. I have that was a big test for me. I passed my test. And you can attest to that as believers. You've had tests like that too. And you're going to have tests as long as you breathe, you're going to have tests. You're going to have a test you never had before next year.
Yes.
But like I said, again, if you do the same thing you did before, you're going to pass that test. You don't stay to the criteria. Stay on the golden, stay on the yellow brick road, the golden way. You'll pass.
Exactly.
Edward Willis, welcome to Preparing to Make It in the Land of Plenty. What's your comment or state of question?
Yeah, assalamu alaikum and Eid Mubarak to everyone. Senator Nassif, two quick questions.
It's Representative, my bad, Representative.
Representative Nassif, my apologies.
Yes, sir.
Number one, since you are admittedly, by your own statement, kind of taking a step back from politics, is the next group of potential political leaders, and I know specifically I should ask you about North Carolina in particular, are they ready to step up? That's the first question. Question number two is, do you see yourself as being a mentor to that group or any potential group as your way of staying involved and using your experience? Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you
for that question.
You know, this is an ongoing process for me. I work with youth. I work with a lot of young people, you know, who have great potential. Advising them, being a mentor to them. I do that right now. I'm doing that constantly. So, you know, that was already in the hamper. And I guess I'll continue doing it as long as people ask me, they, you know, sit down and talk with them, give them my perspective. Because my perspective is a unique perspective. I got a unique perspective. It's like when people come into political office, I think the majority of people come to political office with good intentions. It's that road that they have to go down when they're confronted with certain things or the obstacles in life that they come around and they don't pass the test. They get off the criteria that they get into problems. And then they get so far out there that they, you know, it might be in their career, in their life. But I think that for me, that's an ongoing process. I'm working with several persons and have been working for over the years. And you know, you don't know when they might take that opportunity and do something. But I give them the same criteria as I'm sharing with you today. You know, do right, be right, act right, and have a criteria. My criteria is the Quran, the best human criteria. You know, the best human criteria. What they call the completed Adam, Muhammad. Okay, now I can relate it in many different ways, but like I said, they see me by example. I don't have to say that to them directly, but they see my example. Okay, and they know I got something that if you want to have this, you got to act a certain way. If you want this benefit, you got to, you got to on your own free will bend to that criteria, which Allah says is the best criteria. And so that's why I have peace wherever I go. I don't know what the necklace gonna be for me next. I don't know what's gonna be next. But whatever is gonna be good, because what? You can't get good out of bad. You can't get bad out of good. So I know said what's that? What the other can you think the Quran said, what can you get from good to good? So if you plant a good seed, you know, it might not come up for a long time. It might be delayed, but whatever it is, when it come up, you know, if it's an apple, it's gonna be an apple. If it's an apple seed, it's gonna be an apple tree. It's apple tree. So that's how I try to live my life, and just don't worry about when, but worry about what I'm. Okay. Okay, y'all there? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I got one of those spam calls while I was talking on my phone. I got a spam call. So
Me too.
So do we have any guests besides Elwood had anything to say? Elwood, you have any follow-up?
Well, not so much. I worry, and I think all of us do, that the type of leadership that a true Muslim offers to any governmental body, that there are too few of us that are actively involved in those roles and have those positions. To lose one who has the respect of people is hard when you don't have a ready replacement, ready to step into those shoes.
Yeah, it's so
So I worry about that, and you know, I just hope that Brother Nassif, you know, will help to groom people there in North Carolina. We need people across the country, but definitely the role he's played there needs to be someone to follow in his shoes, to learn from everything that he has had an opportunity to educate himself in. And it's like almost every other aspect of our community is that we don't always have ready people in the next generation or even the generation after them that we seem to be raising up to be able to step into those roles.
Yeah.
And I just hope that he engages himself strongly in that if he has the time. I don't know, maybe he likes to fly fish or something, all those nice things. But I do hope he takes some time and helps educate the next group of people that can keep our community moving forward.
And I would also recommend that that all of us really maybe look at that governance part that the Imam shared with us as being important of the 4 basic essentials that we need to pay attention to, and maybe start to having that type of conversation with any groups we are in. We should be definitely making sure we are a little more politically active, even in this state. Uh, where in Florida here where I'm at, we have such a challenge in terms of the state. But I see we did get a African American or Black Muslim elected in South Florida, in Miami. Matter of fact, this year, mayor. So that was a big surprise for Republican, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm looking a little more too at the contribution the women are making to politics and getting involved, and qualified women are being very effective in politics. But we want to definitely be aware of these things that are coming up. So talk about, if you would, Imam Nassif. I know it's probably a sensitive topic, but talk about the rhetoric that actually has now led us to this war, I would say, and how they are addressing using the same technique you mentioned, flooding, using lunatics, bad people, crazy people, et cetera, et cetera. Using that power language. And I'm hearing a lot of language about killing. We got to kill bad people. We got to kill them. We got to kill them. And and the rhetoric, I would say, that's promoted now to persuade the public thinking. Share some thoughts, if you would, on that, and what should we be doing to maybe avoid.
And we have 10 minutes approximately.
Okay.
These are selling ideas, selling words. You remember when we grew up, they say cowboys and Indians. Anybody want to be no Indian? We want to be cowboy. Now, but look at that whole process. They were taking the Native American land, okay? And in that process, the hero was the one who was taking the land. But it's words. I was in the Vietnam War and started in the Gulf of Tonkin. They told a lie to get in that one. They told a lie to go in Iraq. It consistent. This thing is deep. It's deep because we get into imperialism, and before then it was the British. Now they would kill people, they would kill leaders, they would do all kinds of situations. But like I said again, right now it's right in front of you. They went into. I don't agree with a lot of things they're doing in Venezuela, but they went in there. Okay. But you did make these on the crowd. Russia's going into one area. This is going to the other area. This one going to one time. The orange man talking about going into Greenland. The psychology and talking about war. See, I was military. I've been in war. Okay, I've been in war. I know about war, and I know what it does to people. I know how it affects people. And most of the time, you got these generals and stuff like that, and they've been in wars and stuff like that. They are the last person who want to go to war. Then the first time I'm going to war, this person don't have no experience. You got drafted, the draft, dodge the draft and everything.
Yeah,
But
draft.
they the one talking about war. See, the person talking about war don't know nothing about war. They don't know about the horrors of war, how it affects people, how you got to pay for that. Okay. And so I don't have respect if being a military man, being in combat. I have respect for people who've been in combat because I know they don't, that's the last thing they're going to do is go to war. It's taken too lightly. Lives are changed and things are affected. But they don't have they have a shallow aspect of understanding the whole aspect. And this they looking at it from a greed standpoint, economic advantage, all that kind of stuff. And that's gonna be a problem. They're gonna make a problem down the line. They're gonna make a problem down the line. I'm not saying that people on the other side are right either. No, two wrongs don't make a right. Okay.
Yes, yes.
But like I said again, if everybody was stopping, like what Imam Rabbanni said, look, if the Christian will be a Christian, the Muslim will be a Muslim, and the Jew will be a Jewish person will be a Jew, and go by their criteria, we will have peace on earth.
Yeah.
That's the problem. People are not.
Yes. Follow what you believe in. Thank you, and thank you again for visiting with us, Imam Delacie. We appreciate it very much.
Appreciate it.
Sharing those thoughts with us and on our program here. It's such an honor to have you. So we're gonna stay tuned with what you're doing, and please keep us abreast of what you do. I know I can get that information from my friend Rabbanni there. So some final words, and Michael, as we time down. How minutes, Michael?
We've got about 8 minutes.
Yes, so Rabbanni, go ahead and share some thoughts if you would. And Imam Nassif, if you have some final thoughts you'd like to share,
we have a participant hand up, Muhammad Sharif.
Okay. Yes, Muhammad, please share some thoughts. Be brief, please.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Walaikum assalam.
Eid Mubarak.
Eid Mubarak.
I want to bring to our attention on the volume 49, number 20 of the Muslim Journal. It says on page 20 of the Muslim Journal, everybody get it that don't have it yet. It says her name is, here we go. The Supreme Court recently heard arguments that should reshape. Oh, I can't basically see what I'm reading here. Wow. But anyway, her name is Lisa Cook. She's taking a stance against President Trump, trying to pressure her to step down from the position of being part of the
Federal Reserve Board.
Yes, right. And so we all trying to tell everybody, Muslim, Christian, Jews, everybody get behind her. So she's doing the same thing Sister Claire Muhammad did. She stood up against that truant officer that came to her door. This lady, she's standing up against President Trump. That she don't sit down from her, that he can't force her to sit down from her position that she has.
Yeah, very, very scholarly lady, teacher. I think in Pennsylvania, the university in Pennsylvania, I forget which one, very scholarly, teach economics. Very, very wise teacher, African-American woman who was on the reserve that he tried to throw her off, kick her off, and she sued him and the court ruled in her favor. Thank you, Muhammad, for mentioning that.
You're welcome.
We are in ongoing battles here all around. Michael, share some thoughts if you would.
Yeah, it's important. Well, first I want to state we have a history. There's a book called Constantine's Sword. And as a part of that, the gentleman that wrote the book, he's a Catholic, and he's writing about how the Jews have been abused by Christians. But he comes to a point in Spain where the Muslims, who are not the majority, but the Muslims are in charge of the government, where he talks about an interdependent relationship where the three Abrahamic faiths were able to grow and develop and prosper for over 500 years. And I look at that possibility because of the intelligence and the curiosity of the American citizenry that we still have. I look at that possibility here, not necessarily Muslims in government, but those who appreciate the values of truly religious people, whether they're Jews, Christians, Muslims, or others, but the appreciation for righteousness, that we can have a similar situation for more than 250 years if we take on the right values. Thank you.
Thank you. Professor Rabbanni, share some thoughts, if you will, final thoughts.
Yeah, I was just reflecting on what Michael was talking about, and I saw how when Christians, Jews, and Muslims come together, they develop the sciences, they develop the technology, and it transformed all of Europe from the Dark Ages to the ages of enlightenment. And right now, the people who want to maintain control, like we said in the beginning, who develop this sensitivity to color consciousness, want to have all of the rights and privileges of that credit card called white supremacy. And they might be very, very liberal, but they're not going to give up that white supremacy card.
Yes.
That gives them advantages in their material world. So going back to the concern, for our concern, that it reaches into those avenues and those districts that want to control again and to maintain wealth and to carry it forever. So that was the purpose of the invisible whitened God,
Yes.
supporting by the visible whitened image.
Yes. That of concern is so relevant. Thank you for reminding us again of that too, Professor.
Mm-hmm.
It's I would almost venture to say it's at the root of all evil in this
Exactly.
in this
That's right.
world. The root of all evil. That
Mm-hmm.
idea that God can be a man, a specific image, or son of God as a man, a specific image. Imam Nasif, some final comments, if you would. We may have a couple of minutes. Mike.
Okay. Well, again, thank everybody for allowing me to come on and share some information about my career in politics and understand what's going on today and how we got to get involved, how we should my situation deter anybody from getting involved in politics. We have to be involved in politics. It's essential. If you're talking about leadership and directing our people in the right way. Everybody, we have the outstanding model for any using God as the best thing to do good works. We got the model. You see, it ain't got about our skin. It's the model, it's the character. The model is a persona. And so we just got to, you said, there's a lot of things going on in the world. Well, I'm not on the national scene. I'm not in that responsibility. I'm on the state level. When I was on the local level, I was on the city council. I was on that level. Whatever level you're on, don't feel like you're so inundated and you can't do anything, but you can do something. You can control yourself. And you control yourself and let that go, and you affect one person, you affect 2 people, 3 people. You say, well, how are we gonna eat this elephant? You say, one bite at a time. That's what the ant said. You take your bite. You just take your bite. And then if you are fortunate enough to get to another level, take a bite on that level. Might be a bigger bite. But like I said, whatever you do work where you can in the best way in your position.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for sharing those thoughts with us. Michael, how's our time?
You've got 1 minute.
Okay, we're gonna close. We're gonna go ahead and close out, Michael, if you would, with us. And I want to say Eid Mubarak to everyone, and we hope you have a successful and blessed month of Ramadan and find it. And we are in the days of Eid, so please have enjoyment. Please have enjoyment, all you long time sufferers. Have no happy sufferers. Have some enjoyment.
30 seconds.
Go ahead, Mike.
We make a dua, a supplication to Almighty God Allah. O Allah, guide us among those you've guided aright. Save us among those you save. Bless us in whatever you give us, and deliver us from the harm that you judge. You judge, and none can judge against you, and those whom you befriend are not disgraced. Ameen.
Hameen.